Hello everyone, welcome back to Bloodworth's Zelda Diaries. As I'm just going through different episodes, different moments along my journey through Tears of the Kingdom. Again, this is not meant to be my full playthrough or anything like that, especially with Summer Game Fest coming up soon. We'll definitely have a break around then with all the craziness going on. But this episode is kind of different in a way that it's like I actually did a story quest, everybody. I'm actually doing part of the story, and it's interesting just in that sense that yeah, everything else I've talked to has been sort of emergent, right? Whereas now this is kind of like a little bit more like everybody sees it essentially the same way, one way or another. But anyways, I'm in Zora's domain. As we said in the last episode, we made it to Zora's domain. Now it's time to meet some folks, catch up with some people, and all of that. And we get in there, and there's this statue covered in sludge, and you clear it away. I love this. It's like a callback. It's a statue of what you did with Sidon to Link riding Sidon to take down the divine beast, and then you meet Sidon's fiance Yona, and so that's cool. I guess she's from somewhere else, like making you think about like what exists outside of Hyrule, right? Zora's come from some other place, who have visited over the years, and now she is betrothed, and she's over there like taking people in the infirmary with all of this sludge clogging up their gills and all of that. I will say, I don't know, other RPGs have maybe like tainted me or whatever, because I had this like thought in the back of my head of like, ooh, maybe she's evil. I don't know why. Maybe she's evil. Maybe she's gonna betray Sidon. Maybe she's behind some plot. I don't know. I don't know why. But anyways, and then I wander around a little bit. And what's interesting is one of the criticisms that Brad and Damiani had was people not remembering you, and definitely true of Hestu, the Korok guy. And like, why doesn't he remember you? That's kind of weird. But here, okay, we've got a monument to Link. There's a girl at the shop who remembers you, and she struggled to address you properly, because I guess when she was when she was younger, she would call you Linny, and so she just defaults to calling you Linny, which is great. And there's an older guy that remembers. So yeah, it's really. Yeah, it's interesting because there are people that don't know who you are, but then there are definitely people who do, and who have that history there throughout the area, the Zora's domain. And then when you catch up with Yona again in the infirmary, you get the Zora armor back, and this is so great because I think this is an underappreciated ability, because like the Zora armor allows you to swim up waterfalls. Swimming up waterfalls is sick. It's so good, especially because Breath of the Wild, like you have to climb everything, right? And so it's such an easily forgotten but super good ability. Obviously only works in certain places and with that suit of armor on, but it's good stuff. From there, I happened across like one of those blue stones with the inscriptions on it from Sidon, and I like went on this like hunt to try to find all of the blue stones in the valley or whatever. I didn't record a lot of that because I just thought it was going to be a little tedious. However, while doing that, I happened across a couple of caves, and in those caves, I found the climbing boots, which is also really sick. I love that climbing outfit. Again, similar reasons. Anything to help you climb in these games is great. I also remembered that I had an opal rod, and so at first I was like, what is good as like water? Like water isn't hurting enemies. What's the point? You know, like put fires out. Like how often do I need that? But here in this like sludge-filled Zora's domain, shooting out little things of water to bounce around and clearing up all the sludge, it's like it's so much quicker than the hydrants that I was doing in the last episode. It was great. And so every time I would have something with an opal on it break, I would just like bust out another opal and make another one. It's like, let's keep this thing going, because there's sludge everywhere. And then eventually I went up to Mipha's court, caught up with Sidon. Really, really cool. I love his expression. I love when he like smiles at you. That little thing that they've got going, that's pretty cool. Along with that, right there, there's a shrine at Mipha's court, and there are these things next to it, and they're like little stone things. I'm like, what the heck are they? And in the shrine, you learn how to use them. They're hover stones. I haven't come across these before. I've seen things built with them online, but I didn't know what they were or you know why they would be used. But essentially, these things, when you activate them and then you take them with Ultra Hand or whatever, and you like set them in a position, they just stay floating in the air as long as they've got power. So messed around with them in the shrine and got to know them, and then went back outside, and the hover stones that were outside I used with Ascend or whatever to get up to this treasure chest. So those are really cool, and we'll get back to them in a little bit. Followed up with some more of the quest line. You do this inscription thing. You go find the king. We don't need to show all of it. The one thing I do want to show though is the eavesdropping on the kids to get the the details on where the king is hiding. It was pretty cool. And then when you get up there, yeah, and I think I've essentially given spoiler warnings at this point, but spoiler warning, puzzle spoiler. You get up to this like fish-shaped island or whatever, and it's just surrounded by all of these like debris, right? Like all of these rocks and stuff just kind of floating around it, and you don't see a whole lot of that even with the Sky Islands. And then the hint was like, you know, shoot the king's mark through the tier or whatever. And then you get to just the right spot, and you see like that tear shape in the sky to shoot the arrow through. And it's I don't know. There's something about it. It's really cool to me, the way that they did that, and the way that they like just it's like something out of The Witness, right? All of these things line up that are in the world just floating there at just the right angle. That's pretty cool. And then you head down and catch up with Sidon again, and there's this sludge-like, this boss there, and this is where you get like your first like companion ability. And so Sidon gives you this like bubble, this water bubble, and then when you like slash your sword, then like shoots out a wave in front of you. So it cleans up the sludge, but it also like attacks the thing. And it's funny because I think I like by instinct had pulled out my opal rod, and so I was already like doing damage to the sludge like before. So like I switched to another thing just to see how it would work. And so you finish up this boss fight, and then like Sidon does this crazy thing where like swims really fast and creates a whirlpool. You go underground, and then you go up into the sky to what is my first dungeon, really. And it's interesting because so they don't say water temple until you get like pretty deep in, but I honestly feel like this part counts as the dungeon as well, this first part, because Sidon's up there too. He's not like next to you the whole time, but he's up there, and the mechanics are introduced there as well. So you've got like this low gravity thing going on. And then you also, and that's kind of crazy because like you jump and float, and like you're like everything is kind of slow motion-y. Like it makes me feel like they're doing like a Mega Man underwater sort of thing, rather than doing like a full-on underwater deal where you would be like swimming or something the whole time, because they don't really do underwater swimming in this game or the last game for whatever reason. Anyways, and then the other thing is they have these these water bubble things. And so as we saw these in the trailer early on, and that made me think that we would get fuller swimming, but we didn't. But anyway, so these water bubbles, you jump into them, and then you kind of like float to the surface, and then they float across, and you like kind of ride them from one area to the next. And then there's also like a whole lot of like waterfall jumps and stuff like that. But I get to the shrine with the water bubbles in it, and then it's like starts to break my brain a little bit, because you can interact with the water bubbles like any other Zonai device. So you can recall them and have them go backwards. And then you can like ultra hand and move them around. And then you can also create, like, you have to like create like a ramp for it to like go up, and then you ride it up the ramp and then jump to the end. And it's just, okay, so this stuff is crazy. It's really cool. And then and I fought I fought one of those big construct guardians in low gravity. And then we get to the water temple proper. And there's some cool stuff up there. There's one puzzle I like where there was like a ball in like a pool of water, and then I like cleared some sludge off a thing, and it created one of the water bubbles. And so it's like, then you put the ball into the water bubble and let the water bubble carry it over to the next area. And then you get over there, and you have to like raise a sluice gate to like lower the water to get to another thing. And you know, some earlier ones that had that, like, you would attach boards or whatever to keep the sluice gate up. But this one, those hover stones are there that we had just learned about, you know, down at Mifa's court. And those hover stones, they just hover wherever they're going to be. So you grab the hover stone, you attach it to the sluice gate, you raise the sluice gate, and as long as the hover stone's powered, it just stays up. It just keeps it up there. So that's really cool. It's not affected by the weight or anything, or at least not that much weight. And then, yeah, and then you have a little bit more access to Sidon's power through all this. There was one puzzle. This one I'll give you permission to tell me if there's something I missed. So there were water bubbles that didn't move. They just formed and then just stayed there. And I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, so I eventually like pulled a fan out of my inventory and like blew it up in the air. But I don't know if there's something else I should have done, because if I didn't have a fan, I wouldn't be able to do that. Obviously, by now most people have got some fans in stock, but it was a little weird. There's another part with this really crazy fast spinny thing, and I don't know if there's something I was supposed to do to slow it down, but I basically just fired arrows at it until I got one that like was perfectly timed to hit the target. I don't know. Then we get to the boss. So this is the water temple is like the source of all the muck and stuff. So we see earlier when we first come in, you know, we try to cleanse the muck, but it's not enough. So you go around and you turn the faucets on, basically. But then the boss, when you get to the boss, it's this crazy little octopus guy called a Muktarok. And then he's like a full-on Splatoon boss. Like, he like creates like this shark out of the muck, and it's like diving all over the place and stuff. And so you use Sidon's power and your own like opal water or whatever to knock the shark back, and then keep wailing on the octopus. It's a cool fight. And then we get into crazy story stuff. We get the kind of like sort of flashback conversation with the old water sage, and she mentions the, you know, Sage of Time being Zelda, and Sidon gets this stone, you know, which is one of the tears like we saw in the trailers. And then you get the ring that allows you to like summon Sidon's avatar to just hang out with you and fight alongside you, which is cool. And you can continue to use his power. And then he gets crowned king. All of this craziness happens. Oh, and then we find out what Sage's will is for. I don't know if I recorded that or not, but yeah, I ended up going up to the statue to like get my heart container or stamina or whatever, and it's like Sage's Will. That boosts the power of your companion. Okay, got it. Cool. Anyways, so all that happened, and then now there's like a million side quests at Zora's Domain to do. I did run off and do one of them, where like I got the helmet of one of the divine beasts, and I guess that also augments Sidon's attack power if you're wearing it or whatever. But like I kind of rushed through there, but there's also a chasm underneath of Zora's Domain, so it's crazy. There's a lot going on. Anyways, that may have been a little bit longer than usual. Sorry about that. I wanted to kind of hit that whole arc, and it went on a little bit. But first story thing too, craziness. So thank you for watching Bloodworth Zelda Diaries. I've got to go do some Zora's Domain side quests. I don't know if that'll be a diary thing or if we'll just, you know, we'll skip ahead and we'll go on to the next thing after that. It'll just depend. But thank you for watching. If you like these, if you like what we do, be sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We also need your support. If you're a viewer and you're not a patron, consider going to patreon.com/easyallies and becoming a monthly patron. That is how we're funded. That's how we do everything that we do, from our reviews to our podcasts to our streams. All of that stuff is funded by our viewers. And there's a lot of cool rewards there too. So I will be getting back to it, and I will see you next time.
Good.